The Las Vegas Raiders are going through a major facelift as of right now, and with Pete Carroll, this is his first draft as the Raiders head coach. So, how did the front office end up doing? My name's Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down the Raiders 2025 draft class. But before we get into that, Ryan is getting married here in a couple of weeks. So, give him an early wedding day present by hitting that subscribe button and leaving a like and a comment. Let us know what you think of the Raiders draft. And Ryan, with that being said, the Raiders kicked it off here in the first round with Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State, then followed it up with receiver out of TCU, Jack Bech. Then in the third round, they had several picks. Darien Porter, cornerback out of Iowa State. Then back-to-back offensive tackles, Caleb Rogers from Texas Tech, and then Charles Grant from William and Mary. Then to kick off day three, they got Deontay Thornton, receiver from Tennessee. Then in the fourth round, also, they got defensive tackle Tonka Hemingway from South Carolina. Then wrap things up here. Several picks in round six, and then one in round seven. JJ Pegues, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. Tommy Mellott, receiver from Montana State. Cam Miller, QB from North Dakota State, and then lastly Cody Lindenberg, linebacker from Minnesota. So they got a lot of different positional needs, and
Yeah.
I will say, just looking at it as of right now, they you can maybe make an argument Dante Thornton might be a little too high. Like I figured it's going to be day three pick, but he's got a bunch of intangibles that teams really, really like, and that's me being nitpicky. That being
Yeah.
said, I really like what they did in these first several picks. Them first, I'll start off with Ashton Jeanty, and I think Jack Bech. One great story overall, but then two, I think he's also going to be a great compliment to Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers as well. Then I really like what they've done with getting Darien Porter there, great value, kick off the third round, and then really addressing that offensive line as a whole. So, Ryan, want to throw it over to you. What do you like about this Raiders draft class? What are some things you think are left to be desired?
Honestly, just about everything. The only thing I wish they would have done is maybe gotten a safety, but especially in the first 5 or 6 picks, there's not really anybody that I would be like, okay, maybe that was a little redundant. Maybe you should have traded that pick for safety. So I can't even really nitpick that. I love the Ash Jeanty pick. Jack Bech was one of my favorite day two receivers. Darien Porter, I thought he would go near the top of the second round with his athleticism at the cornerback position and just his upside, considering the fact he's only played corner for a few years. Like they got athletic offensive linemen. They took some flyers on day three. Cody Lindenberg, their final pick, was my favorite day three linebacker. So I really like this draft. It's really hard to poke any holes in this. I feel like not only did they take, I don't want to say the safe picks, um, but they did a really good job, I think, of taking some flyers later, some picks with some upside, coupled with some guys that I feel like have a really high floor. The last nitpick I guess I could say is Ashton Jeanty is now the second highest paid running back in the NFL, and he's never played a snap in the NFL. And so that just kind of comes with the territory of taking a running back that high. But I think he's probably worth it. He's probably a top 5-10 running back in the league now, anyways. So it is a
Yeah,
little bit of a risk, but I think it's worth taking,
I
especially in
I
this draft class.
I honestly think too, even if you're just going best player available, he was probably the best player available on the board at that time.
Mhm.
Like talking about immediate impact to this team and the Raiders running back room and just running game as a whole was atrocious. So that's why I love going in Ashton Jeanty, who is your three down back. He could be that bell cow guy. Then going and getting guys like Caleb Rogers and then Charles Grant as well in later in the third round, really developing that depth as a whole. And I will say one thing too. It's not like this offensive line was bad last year. There's some areas that they need to improve, and they're pretty young overall. But I still think though it's not like I think that they were horrible, so to say. There are some young guys on there with a lot of promise as well, and I think they're
Yeah.
only going to keep on improving. And so it's good that they're adding more depth and getting more competition and more talent in there, and may the best man win. But I also think too as well. If you go look at what Geno Smith was able to do in Seattle, they really struggled on that interior offensive line. And I don't know, Raiders fans, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like I feel like the Raiders offensive line was better than the Seahawks offensive line last year. And so
Yeah.
now I think they're coming in. You get Ashton Jeanty, you have one of the best weapons in the league in Brock Bowers now. And then you pair him up with Jack Bech, who just a super great story, or inspiring story with everything that happened with his family, with the New Orleans terror attack, and like who he will be playing for during his entire NFL career. But even so, they kind of moving on then from that. We talked a lot about that, but Dante Thornton and his speed and everything, Tonka Hemingway
Yeah.
and JJ Pegues, like the size that they bring to that defensive interior to go along with Max Crosby and company. I just like in general, just like really good value throughout.
Yeah. No, I think they did a really, really good job with this draft. We've been doing grades for each draft class, and uh, I think this might be my A plus draft. We only give out one A plus a year. This might be my A plus draft. I really like what they were able to do. I thought they got a lot of good players in there. It's definitely in my top 3, I think. Uh, and this might be the A plus draft.
I like it. I like it. I think to me, I think I'll just give it an A.
Okay.
It's nothing against this one or nothing against like it like any of the other ones I've given an A. It's a really good draft. I also think too the Raiders, they have kind of the superstars that you're looking for. I think they just needed somebody to piece things together. I think you bring Pete Carroll in, and he's that head coach. I think that can steer them in the right direction. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. Very curious to see what happens with the Raiders overall. Like there's a lot of talent in there, and so I think for me the AFC is just loaded, and so I think the Raiders. So now they have their quarterback. I think they have some even more explosive weapons on that side of the ball, which I also think too in general is going to help out that offensive line being able to spread everything out and having a more mobile quarterback. So we'll see Raiders. Who knows? I still think that they're probably the 4th team in the AFC West, but that's not really a knock on them. I think it's when you include the Chiefs and now how great the Broncos and Chargers have developed so quickly. It's going to be interesting to see where they end up falling uh, rankings wise at the end of the season.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be fun. I am excited to see kind of with all the changes that they've made on a franchise basis what they are able to do. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of the Las Vegas Raiders 2025 draft class. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And then that we'll see you guys next time.